Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest episode of JKL Media Reviews. And this, we're continuing our exploration of The Expanse, and we're on season one, episode five, Back to the Butcher. And with me to safeguard me on this journey are Jesse
Hello.
and Karen.
Hi.
Hi.
Who's on first? What's on second?
Second.
I don't know who's on third.
On third,
Right.
that's
All right. In this one, Holden and crew make a deal with an unlikely ally on Tycho Station. Along with his conspiracy theories about Julie Mao, Miller's obsession with the missing girl intensifies. Jesse, what were your thoughts on this episode?
I was a little confused with the storyline of the protesters. And I kept, did I miss an episode? So I'm once again, this is twice now they've done this for me, where they've started the episode and I'm like, what the? And then I love the reveal and the explain of talk about showing, not telling. So I think this was a really strong episode. I have some frustrations with some of the character decisions, but
Hmm,
overall, just a really good story that I'm enjoying a lot.
cool. Karen.
yeah. I enjoyed those flashbacks. I like that they give us more information each episode, and it's a lot of backstory, which I love. And I also really enjoyed that we got more of the series station in this episode as well. And the parts that we saw were really great, I
Mhm.
thought.
Yeah, I agree. I thought this was a pretty strong episode. I can understand for first-time viewers how it can be confusing because every place that you go to, it seems that people are protesting. So it's kind of like hard to figure out where you are. I think it's really important that the opening sequence that you catch on to the fact that that stuff has happened 11 years ago. So that's how they're supposedly trying to make it less confusing for viewers. And then we're continuing. I think this is the first episode that we haven't had Christian in. I don't remember. Was she in this? No,
Yeah,
she
I
was
don't
not in
we
this
didn't see
episode.
any of the Earth storyline in
But
this one.
we're finding out more about this new character, Fred Johnson. Why is his name so hard to remember? I guess because it's
I
so
don't know. It's so
ordinary.
simple. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't really fit the character, but we'll talk about that more. And of course, we're continuing our investigation with Miller. And I thought there was a couple of nice beats in there. And hey, Magnum survived. Yay.
Yay.
So it's all good. So let's deal with the flashback 11 years earlier to Anderson Station and what was going on there. Jesse, what did you think about this opening sequence?
I was worried about them. Could, they're very crowded. We aren't for sure what they're protesting about. As usual, there is everyone wants to quote unquote backseat drive with a leader. So yeah, I had a bad feeling about this. I just from the beginning I have a bad feeling that this is not going to turn out well. I was worried about it. And turns out, surprise, I'm right. But yeah, I thought it was, as I said, I was confused about what it is. I did not see if it said 11 years earlier
Mm,
or
yeah.
anything on there. So I was a little curious what was going on and where this was happening. And then they
Hmm.
revealed at the end, which made it really powerful.
Sure.
Yeah, that storyline is heartbreaking. I too had that same feeling of dread that these people that looked like the same kind of people that are protesting on series, that they were more isolated and given an ultimatum very early in those flashback scenes. So I had an inkling of hope when our leader there, I'm sorry, I don't remember his name
Fred
in
Johnson?
this one. No, the good guy, the guy who gets killed.
The
Oh,
dad.
The
yeah.
dad, yeah. I'm sorry, I don't remember his
Um,
name. But anyway,
yeah. I don't know either. Even looking at the guest list, I don't
I
remember.
know, same.
Could be a couple,
Neville, maybe?
maybe Neville Bosch. Yeah.
No, that's not him.
Lopez? No,
Anderson? No.
no.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Our hero with the daughter on Anderson Station, when he finally talks that other guy into surrendering, I thought, okay, maybe they'll get taken in and these become people that we know. I thought maybe this was a backstory for those people. And then when we saw Fred Johnson there, I realized what's his backstory.
Right.
These people are incidental to that storyline. And it really informs more of his character. Like last week, we saw that he was sneaky and that he's valued in what he does, but it seemed like maybe he does things off the books. And then this week we saw that he definitely wasn't off the books at one point and did some really nefarious things. And to take out all of those people and then not really think twice about it was wrenching to me.
Hmm.
And
Especially that last shot, the father and
yeah, where he's
daughter.
stand
They're
right,
floating in
exactly, where
space.
they're floating in space and he's
Yep.
just standing there on the doorway there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also we learned that working conditions have been bad for quite some time, that Mars was responsible for all their children getting brain conditions, neurological conditions from the low air, the hypoxic air.
Was it Mars?
And
Because it's UN Marines, right? So,
was it
yeah.
okay? Yeah, the Marines, sorry. So the UN, the
So
Earth,
it's
I
Earth.
guess,
Yep.
they were pretty, it shows that the Earth, which is our current place, the Earth is us, essentially. They're not the good guys. And that's a different thing from most of the shows that we watch, right? Is
Yeah.
that they make Earth the good guys. And for right now, at least they're not the good guys. And that again is an interesting twist on the story. So yeah, it was very impactful, that storyline.
Hmm.
One thing, I'm sorry, Lou, one
Go
other
ahead.
thing. I watched, and people may not see the connection, but I think I can stick the landing. I watched the new movie that came out last year, Best Christmas Pageant Ever, directed by the same guy who's doing The Chosen. It's based on a very famous kids book, and there is a scene where one of the hoity-toity Christian kids says that the person playing Mary, she looks like a refugee.
Mm,
And the other person says, yes. And I thought that was such a powerful scene. And when you see these, they look like refugees. They are just people fighting for their kids. And it comes down to so much in basic humanity that we all want to take care of our kids. We all want to have a better life. And by doing that, you get thrown that you're a quote unquote terrorist, that you are fighting the system. So yeah, I thought it was incredibly powerful, and especially after we're trying to give up. We have no weapons. We're everything uncle. And whoever was running the UN at that time congratulated him and was saying, great job. You have done a service to this nation by killing a team of terrorists, when really all we've done is killed a bunch of scared parents and their children. End
hmm
of soapbox. Sorry.
Yep. No, that's perfect.
Yeah, this on second viewing for me, I appreciated some subtleties that I hadn't caught the first time. I think the big thing is the entire sequence is only told from the quote unquote terrorist side. We never get to see the Marine side of the thing. We never get to see Fred Johnson's perspective on it. There's always, like they always say, there's there's multiple sides to the story. There's your side, there's my side, and then there's the truth, which is usually in the middle. I think that's something to glom onto that the show does a really good job of, and this was called Monkeys. They build up a perception of a character, and then when you get into them a bit more, you're going to start have second thoughts about your initial impression, and I think that we'll see that as well. I liked how they handled the terrorists on Anderson Station because at first they just seemed like your run-of-the-mill sort of terrorists. Like if we probably thought or assumed that they are striking for more pay and or more whatever, and then we find out it's because of the oxygen conditions on their station and their children are being harmed by it, which again flips our perception of the terrorists again. So I thought that was well done. I still scratch my head at the fact that they blew up the station, which to me seems counterintuitive too. Like they're gonna have to rebuild it. So I don't really understand the end game of the Marines in this particular situation. And that final shot with the father and daughter, a permanent hug as they drift in space, that was very poignant. And so I thought that the opening sequence or this particular section of the episode was really well done. Then the rest of the episode really breaks up into two main parts. What happens aboard the,
Can I,
oh, go ahead.
since you mentioned why did they blow up Anderson Station, I'm wondering if it could be so they could say it was sabotaged by the terrorists and make them into more of a villain than,
Right.
and now we have to rebuild it. Now
Yeah.
there's going to be delays, and
Yeah.
they
I
may
guess.
have wanted to make it into a big thing.
Yeah. But they didn't count on the commander of the station getting that message out.
Nope, nope. And
So
again, that's like a parallel to the Tycho, to the, I'm sorry, not the Tycho, the TA as it's named now.
yes.
Anyway,
Uh,
sorry.
Yep. So then the rest of the episode is broken into two main storylines. What happens aboard the now renamed Rocinante, which is another Don Quixote reference. And interestingly enough, Rocinante means workhorse. And it's in the novel, it's meant to, where is it? I'm trying to find the quote now because oh yes, it's changing the name of the ship or the horse. It changes its status from old nag to foremost steed. So it's a renaming of the ship to that name, which I think is quite good. And it gives a nice character moment between two characters that up until this point have been at loggerheads for pretty well the onset of the series. Anyhow,
And
we'll
that
get
was
back to that.
Don Quixote's horse.
Yes,
Yeah.
Rocinante. Yeah, it's a cool name. I like it. So let's talk about what happens on the Rocinante. And Karen, I'll let you go first this time. There's a lot going on here, and there's a couple of significant beats that happen as well. Take it away.
Sure. First of all, I feel dumb because last week I was like, hey, Lopez might come in handy. And
Hmm.
apparently he's not going to come in handy.
No.
He is DED dead. I do that he gave them all permissions because they did use those in this episode. Also, Naomi cautioning that the ship, it's not, it wasn't wise to do what they did to alter the I guess it's the name, but she called it
Transponder
something
code.
else, right?
Transponder code.
Transponder code. Thank you.
Yeah.
That they could all blow up and they took that chance. And the fact that now the Butcher storyline is going to roll into this, the Tycho Station and the Rossi, as my husband calls it now. I'm assuming that's the nickname that the ship is given. Rossi.
We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, they decide that they don't trust Fred Johnson, but they don't have a lot of choice. And at the very least, this isn't an Earth or a Mars interest. That they know that this is like a third party. And we know it's the Mormons, right? The Mormons have commissioned this, the Tycho Station, but I don't know what they know about it. But anyway, that he is apparently known to at least Naomi, right? Naomi kinda knows who he is, and the fact that they're wary, but they're ultimately willing to trust him means that they're worried about where they are, like what their circumstances are. Changing the name and the transponder code, I think that was a smart thing to do. Now they've made that ship their own. And the fact that it's named quote unquote workhorse, I think is really, it was a great thought
Hmm.
that Holden had to name it something meaningful. And it's like people when they buy a boat, you're not supposed to rename a boat, but people do that sometimes because it means something to them. And it actually is not something to be taken lightly because that has a lot to do with its registration and all that stuff. You really do have to. And as far as that goes, like horses who are registered under one name, they have a registered name and they have a barn name, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But sometimes when someone buys a horse, they rename it, and that's a big deal too because they're registered under a certain class and ranking and all that. But anyway, so they don't take this lightly, but they do name it something meaningful, and I think that's a really wise decision for them. I also love the fact that they all realize that they're gonna get some creature comforts here on the Rosie. They have coffee, they have beds, they have it's they might be worried about what's going to happen, but at the very least right now, they feel like they've gotten something good by accident by
Hmm.
being put on this. And man, Holden and the coffee, I get that 100%, man. If I didn't have coffee, I don't know what I'd do. Yeah, I love that. And he's mentioned coffee before.
Yeah.
So I thought this was a nice little callback to when he was having a little date with his girlfriend on the can.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was cool. And then was it Alex that fixed up Lopez at the end? Was it Alex that
Um,
put Lopez in the
s-
body bag?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yep.
So I thought that was interesting too, because we know that they were both on the same side at one point. So I feel like maybe he took it upon himself to treat a brother in arms with the
Hmm.
respect and also the fact that he helped them in the end. He could recognize, yeah, okay, he wasn't the best guy ever, but at the very least, he did us a service. So there was a lot of little beats in this that meant a lot more than it looked like, I
Yeah.
think. And it was a really great, I love this crew very
Hmm.
much. We see how they relate to each other. It feels like they're coalescing a little better. And I don't know, I just enjoy the storyline a lot.
Excellent. Jesse.
Yeah, I'm a little sad that we're down to only 4 people on our crew. They keep shrinking and losing people. But it is an interesting crew and an interesting dynamic. The engineer is almost upset that she has a place that doesn't need her care
Skills. Yeah.
100% all the time, right?
Yeah.
It's this. But yes, it does seem like they're having their this shuttlecraft, I think is what we think, right? It's a small unit, but it's bigger than what you would think of like on Star Trek's shuttlecraft. It looks like this does have, I think Sean last week called it a frigate. It
Mhm.
is a little bit bigger, so it does have guns. It does. I do. I am curious, just in my own mind, like how many people are normally on, should be in this kind of ship, and if so, like if it's supposed to be 2025, you now only have 4, so therefore you shouldn't run out of coffee anytime soon.
There was a
And
lot of coffee down there.
yes, and he was like, yes, and all
Mm.
happy. I know one of the things that I loved that continually worked on the Battlestar Galactica remake or reboot is Adama would always have water like it was a fine brandy or a fine bourbon. He would be very careful with that water. And so he drank Holden drank that coffee like this time,
Mm.
like that this is really good stuff to be savored. Uh,
Precious.
unlike me, I drink a candy bar basically with sweetener and flavored creamer. So
I like to taste my coffee.
Yeah.
yeah,
Just a dash of milk for me.
Yeah.
Yep, milk and a tiny bit of sugar.
No sugar.
Yeah. I just I like how we're setting this up. I also like our Jane character, and I never can remember his name. That's how I think of, look, it's their
Joe,
Jane. Um,
Amos.
Amos. How
Amos.
he immediately he I got you, boss. I'm backing.
Yeah.
And then came after the fact and said, why are we not doing this? And you it is as close to a perfect way of doing that as possible in
Yeah.
front of everyone, backing your leader, then on a side going, hey, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
It's a small enough group, they should be able to talk about it openly. But I like that she didn't want to do that. And it also, it was a nice moment when is it Alex that took the person that died and put them in a
Yeah,
body and
Yeah.
everything? I thought that was a really nice moment too,
Yeah.
yeah.
just showing that respect for him. So yeah, really very interesting storyline. And you wonder, at least I wonder, hopefully they're not going to lose this ship,
Mhm.
and you wondering what kind of adventures are they going to get to doing this.
You are in for a good ride, sir.
Good.
Can I ask
Yes,
another question real
you
quick?
may.
I'm sorry, I hate to keep doing this. Am I ever gonna Amos?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because right now I don't.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
I don't hate him or anything. He's
Yeah.
just,
Just annoying.
I
yeah,
liked him
Yeah.
a little bit more after this week. And I
yeah,
don't
Yeah.
know if maybe because of the way he interacted with,
Naomi?
yeah, Naomi, but, and also just, and he wasn't as big of a jerk to Holden and Alex. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I liked him a little bit more.
Yeah. I think, again, on second viewing, I'm seeing the seeds, the breadcrumbs of a lot of things being dropped here. What's really interesting is the crew dynamics we had in the earlier episodes where Naomi was challenging Holden's authority and say, "You're not in charge of us," and Alex or Amos as well. Yet when it came to naming the ship, she deferred to Holden. So I think that was maybe an subconsciously a big gesture on her part, and she probably may not have realized it at that moment. But and I also like the payoff of that when he chose that name because Alex came up with these like the Screaming Viper and all this. It was really kid immature names. And when he said the Rocinante, Amos said, "Oh, I like that name." He says, "I knew a woman like that who had that name." So I thought that, yeah, again, they're slowly building the relationships between the characters. And the other thing I really noticed this time was Naomi's reluctance to go there in the first place is because she said she knows men like that who want power and will
Hmm.
go at no lengths to get it. Sorry, no any lengths to get it. So again, another breadcrumb. And there's a lot of things that we still don't know about the backgrounds of a lot of these characters, and that's the fun of slowly peeling back the onion layers and finding out more about all of them.
I also that they put a little note in there that said, I hope the Tycho Station doesn't get blown up too, because everywhere they go, they leave destruction in their wake. Can't and
Yes, that was also
the
another good point. Yes,
yeah,
yeah, thanks for
I
bringing
thought
that
that
up.
was cute.
Where they go, the way things are going, we're going to do this anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that too.
Yeah, and the other big, well, not big, but the other important beat there was on Ceres Station when they say, "Remember they can't." They also have a picture of Holden on the banner as well. And there, Alex is saying, like, how did they find out about you?
Mhm.
Because basically now his face is all over the solar system, but he transmitted the message, so I don't think it's a
Yep.
big mystery as to why his
No.
face is on the banner.
No, the
Um,
message was the thing that started the protest, so of
yeah,
course they're going to use him as
yeah.
a
I was a little surprised that Alex didn't show him what was going on series because Holden has inadvertently precipitated this whole riot situation or protest situation that's going on there. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And the other thing that's curious about this is why is Johnson being so helpful to these guys? What's his play? What's his deal? So that'll be interesting to see how that expands going forward, to use pun intended, I guess you could say, for that storyline as well. All right. And then we go to back to Miller on series. He's still in his quest to find out what happened to Julie Mao. And again, there's a lot of interesting character beats that take place during this section of the episode that I really enjoyed watching the second time. Jesse, back to you. What did you think of the Miller thing? And what's your feelings on the Miller character now?
Are we talking about just everything that happened this episode?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
You, in our household, I don't know, I feel like we are similar to others, that you show how upset you are and how much you care about someone by being really mean to them. And I assume that he was really worried about his partner. And instead of showing compassion or concern, you were stupid to get hurt. Why are you spending time with a call girl? I am done with you. Which I translate, I hope that I'm really concerned about you and I'm concerned about your physical health. And also, I don't want someone taking advantage of you. Now, that's me being kind to the Miller character. He could just be an asshole, right? Just it could be, but I'm being kind. I do not, by the way, just get this out of the way. I hate his hairstyle. I'm glad he wears a hat all the
Dude.
time, but I just cannot stand that hairstyle that it's long on one side and
It is
shaved on
distracting,
the other. Yeah, but
but it's grown on me now the second time
I
through.
love it.
yeah, yeah,
It's a good way to show that he's on another environment, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. I really like the police sergeant or captain, whoever is the head of the precinct, talking about, hey, we got to get this guy, and if he happens
Yeah.
to fall out of a lift, oh,
Yeah.
Holden, not Holden,
Miller.
Miller saying his friend, his fellow officer coming and telling him, you're obsessed with this, you don't care about your partner, and him explaining, no, there's something going on here. This is more than just me wanting a reward. I thought was a nice scene that showed him talking about this and stuff. And then the scene with the guy, and I'll always think of him from Mad Men, the Jared Harris Anderson
Hmm.
dog.
Okay.
That discussion about I the guy who hurt your partner is not someone that we want to be part of. I'm gladly giving him up. I was a little disappointed we didn't see a follow-up of that, but I think Jared Harris always is a great character,
Yeah.
and I like him in this a lot, going, he's the flip side of Christian. Christian is worried about Earth. Jared is worried about the Belters.
Right.
And so I like this side. And then one side note, the guy who played Neville, the one that had helped Julie, yeah. He's in Murder in a Small Town, which
Okay.
is not a great series, but I like watching it because of the cast.
Okay.
And as I was listening to him, I know that guy. I know that guy. Who is that guy? So, yeah, this was the three storylines all worked well for me this week.
Okay.
And so I do feel like we're slowly getting where something, I think we're going to start seeing some intersections.
Okay.
But yeah,
All right. Karen.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I like his hairdo. I think it's really cool, but I get it. It's distracting, but he does wear the hat, and I feel like the hat is his, I don't know, for lack of a better word, mask that he wears. His hair is his loyalty to being a belter, and his hat is his persona of,
Top.
I gotta table that
Yeah.
in order to do my job.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're giving us with that weird haircut, right? That it's an easy way to convey that.
Yep.
I love that he doesn't know how to pronounce Anubis. That was funny. And when you say maybe he's just an a-hole, I think it's a little from column A, a little from column B. We keep saying he's gray. He's a gray character, and
Right.
that's 100% true. I do think that the I told you so is real. He's very frustrated that his partner went and got really injured. And he's also frustrated because of his relationship with Gia. He's pretty cynical, and so he is quite sure that Gia is not in it to help him. So I thought that was interesting. And we do see that Havelock says to him, don't talk to her like that. So he has feelings for her, and we're still left wondering, does she have feelings for him, or is it just something that she's looking to get out of it? He's a policeman. Normally, a prostitute wouldn't fall in with a policeman unless there's something to be gained by it. We see that he's becoming obsessed with finding out more about Julie Mao, but it's also something that he's learning more about her, that she was one of them, even though she had privileges because of what family she was born into, but she identified with the common man. And he is becoming more interested in the fact that she is someone he would have gotten along with. He would have really admired that spirit in her. And he does learn a lot about her in this episode, that she was willing to throw in on that side of good, quote unquote. Again, they're terrorists, so we don't really know what they're considered in our mind, at least. What are they supposed to be? Or to me, they seem sympathetic. You know what their motivation is, and that they've been stepped on. They're slaves, essentially, and we would be behind a slave uprising. We would be all for that. And so I feel like she's a simulacrum for what we're supposed to feel, that we would throw in with those people if we were in that situation. We would want to be on that side. So the fact that he is taking more interest in it, I think, is making him a character that we like even more. And I do think that he felt bad about Havelock getting hurt, but that's the deal. I also liked when he tracks down the dock worker and he talks to him, and he realizes that guy was in love with Julie, that they had a relationship. It shows that he's a really good detective. He just susses that out from the guy's behavior. And it's not like the dude was like really telegraphing that. I didn't realize until after he got those clues and jumped on it that maybe they were in a relationship. I just thought this guy was really enamored of the fact that she threw in on their side. Then he talks about the data broker, and apparently not many people know that he's dead.
Yeah.
He keeps having to break that news to everybody. He's dead. He's being processed right now. And I do like that. Helps him. He says, tell me about this guy and where can I find him? He's being underhanded about it. And then when they say, I don't know where you can find him, and then he goes, he's dead. I do appreciate that. And I like that he told him, hey, you got to go here. The dude finally gets it, that Joe is not acting like a cop 100%. He is looking into this because he is really curious as to what happened to her. And so this dude, I guess Neville, the dock worker, he says, okay, fine, I'll give you the information. So maybe you can find out more about what's going on. And so you have to ask for a Sherpa. And they use the term Sherpa too, because that is a guide. So this guy was apparently, being a data broker, he was a guide for people that wanted more information. I love that this show throws out words and they really do mean something in the context in which they're mentioned. So Sherpa being a guide, the guy is a data broker, the Rosi being named a workhorse, just a lot of different meanings behind things. And yeah, a really interesting storyline. We got a lot of information. We're liking Miller more, and I want to like him so much. I do because the actor is amazing. I love Thomas Jane in anything. I've mentioned this many times before, but I want him to be a character that I can really root for. I love that he is doing what he feels is right. And I like his captain. She is interesting. And his female coworker, who apparently he has a history with, they're both very interesting characters. And that also shows his mindset when he interacts with anybody else from the, what is it, Star, what are they named? The Star Helix security. When he interacts with everyone, they're all like straight and narrow. They're definitely policemen, quote unquote. They're doing the work, and he is much more of a almost like a Batman figure, a detective that's, isn't he
Yeah.
a detective and he works with them, but he is
Lone Ranger.
definitely, yeah, exactly, on his own. Yeah, every storyline hit in this episode. I just
Awesome.
really enjoyed it.
I have a question for the two of you because neither one of you brought this point up. Why did Miller decide not to go after the guy that injured Havelock? He threw that phone in the incinerator, right?
Oh, that's interesting.
My guess is that he is worried what the cost is going to be, that he didn't want to be under, he's only so dirty, and he didn't want the consequences of what he would owe them if he did that, is my guess.
Right. That's a good guess. Karen?
Yeah, that makes sense. And also, I feel like he did tell Havelock, you're going to get yourself killed. And he might not agree with what the guy did. Obviously, he doesn't, because
Hmm.
the guy tried to kill his partner. But I feel like maybe he feels like Havelock was taught a lesson by that. But why did he not go after him? That's a good question. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
don't know. Go ahead.
I think Jesse hit on part of it for sure, that he doesn't want to be beholden to the Jared Harris character, whose name I'm trying to find, Anderson Dawes. I think the other reason is that he doesn't want to share what he finds out about Julie with anybody.
Yeah,
I think he wants to hold on to it all on his own. So
sure.
potentially, those are a couple of reasons why. And I admit I was confused in the episode when he went to visit Neville. I thought that he was going after this guy that had injured Havelock, but he wasn't. Yeah, so there's a lot of good in this section, especially. I think there's a lot of good character beats. I read the opening scene when he's chewing out Havelock and the call girl, that when he insinuated attacked the woman, that she was setting Havelock up. And she said something in the Beltese that they didn't really translate, but I'm sure it was not complimentary. But I think when he left the room and he looked back in and saw them and how they were interacting, that I think he was having second thoughts about his impressions or his gut feeling that she was setting the guy up. I think he realized in that moment that they truly did have a real connection. And that's a parallel to what I think is going on with him and Julia to maybe a certain
Yeah.
extent as well. So I really like that. And maybe I'm reading that wrong because I don't remember how this storyline plays out, what happens with Havelock on this girl. But I thought that was an interesting beat. I agree with Jesse. I love Jared Harris, and I've seen him in a lot of things. And in this one, he's really worked at developing a sort of like a dialect or an accent that's not anything that I've really heard before. But it's definitely of this locale, this station. It's this patois of New Orleans, Cajun, whatever it is. But he does it really well, and he is trying to play Miller, but Miller didn't bite because he didn't go after the vigilante. And it'll be interesting to see how their relationship goes forward. And his scenes with Neville talking about Julia, realizing that this guy was in love with her, finding out everything that he's finding out about her is proving to him that she was the real deal. She wasn't just doing this as a despite her father. She really believed in what she was doing because it got to the point where she ended up that she had to take cancer preventing drugs for the rest of her life because she was helping out these people that were in this bad situation on one of the stations with this poisoning. I think, yeah, there's a lot of great character beats in this, and it shows Miller's detective skills because he makes that connection between the hamster in the
Mm.
workshop and the guy's
Yep.
apartment. So he gets that new data cube. We don't know what's on that one. We know that the other one that he had the flight plan of the scopuli and the Lewis, and he's come to the conclusion that was whatever was on that ship was important enough that people are dying because of it. And it'll be interesting to see where that investigation takes him. And and then the episode ends on a cliffhanger, of course, because he's somebody throws a bag over his head and he's taken away. So yeah, just a lot of really good stuff in this episode. A lot of little character beat moments that if you if you ever get the inclination to watch the show a second time, they're going to jump out at you a lot more. This time, really organic to how the story's playing out, so they're not popping off the screen. So it's the show is very subtle in how it's handling its building out of the world and the characters, and I appreciate that quite a bit. There's no big dramatic music or whatever close-ups or somebody go, "Oh my God!" Or it's just real life kind of stuff going on that people aren't realizing either consciously or subconsciously that their actions are being played out in the environments that they're in, and things are happening between the lines. I guess that's the best way to put it, because the best stories often have what people call like it leaves any piece of art leaves texture, open texture for the person experiencing it to weave their own storyline into it and an interpretation to it. And I appreciate that quite a bit. It's like that age-old, why is Mona Lisa smiling? Nobody knows, but if you did know the answer, it would be probably something mundane or something like that, and that destroys the whole beauty of art. And I think that the show is doing it
You had a
really,
good breakfast or
really,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had a good breakfast, or somebody made a joke, or
Yeah.
she saw her child in the corner watching them painting bin. Who
Sure.
knows? But we can come up with so many other things. And that's why endings are hard because people get in their minds to have these great big bombastic emotional things, and a lot of times shows just can't deliver on that because the storyline just doesn't let them go to where the person's mind went to.
I
So
feel like we really learned a lot in this episode.
I agree. I think
And
there's a lot of character stuff in here.
it was stuff that they tell you, and then there's also stuff we learn that's being implied. There,
Yep.
I really appreciate that.
Yep, for sure. And just a lot of really good acting here. Next week's episode is called Rock Bottom, so that might be ominous, or it might not. I don't know. But we will find out what's going on once we get to Tycho Station and find out who this Fred Johnson character is. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Any last thoughts, Karen, before I think you've already kind of said it, but
Yeah, I have. I jumped in. I'm sorry.
okay,
But yeah,
that's okay.
I love episodes that inform us of things, characters, how much I love character
Yeah,
growth. And I do feel like we got a little bit of that. At the very least, on the Rosie, we got a bit of growth between them. And we saw more about Joe as well, and the fact that he is learning more about Julie and coming around to how he feels about that. But yeah,
right,
very cool.
right. Jesse.
Yeah, I like this one, and I am very intrigued by what's going to happen when the Rossi crew lands at the station, right?
Mm,
He having this reputation of someone, and of course, my speculation is this was something where he was either lied to or what's the old, I was just following orders, which I believe there is a brand new high profile Nuremberg movie coming out
Right.
discussing that. So I'm intrigued by this. I like that actor. He
Mhm.
plays some very fascinating, complicated characters in other series.
Right.
So I think this will be good. So yeah, I'm really intrigued. I'm glad we're watching this series. And I'm also, I really like the fact that we've been able to savor an episode one a week
Yeah.
versus trying to binge this because I think they're worthy of actually spending some time and talking about it. It's good
Yeah.
stuff.
Awesome. All right. So, Karen, if people wanted to find out more about you or to talk to you, where should they go?
Sure. You can email us at jklmediareviews@gmail.com. And I am at Eleveria on social media, Aleveria. My husband wanted me to make sure to spell it. So I'm going to do that from now on. And my blog is alistuff.com.
Very good. And for the most prolific and prodigious podcaster in, I think, the history of podcasting, Jesse, where can people not find you? Is probably the better question.
Oh, you're very kind. Yes, I am at Jesse Jackson DFW on Twitter. Blue Sky, X, all that fun stuff. You can hear me talking music on Set Listing Bruce. I have some fun episodes coming up, and as we're recording this, I just had an episode on Friday where a Philadelphia sports writer who can't stand Bruce Springsteen joined me, and we had a lot of fun on that.
Heard him?
No, no, I didn't, and I didn't even try.
Oh, okay.
I understood his reasons. I did suggest that he thinks Bruce is a better storyteller than he is a musician. And I asked him if he had watched Springsteen on Broadway, and he had not. And I suggested watch it, give it 45 minutes, and then come join me and talk about what you thought of it. And he said he'd think about it. So that's as close as I came to doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's we Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast, and Perfectly Good podcast, where we're talking about every John Hyde song in alphabetical order. We are on the letters M, and I think that's all I've got going on till January.
Sounds like enough to me. You can
Yes.
Stay
find,
tuned.
yeah, you can find me, of course, this YouTube channel, JKL Media Reviews, where we're working on the Expanse, and we also do our one-offs. We're also currently reviewing Pluribus. I guess you could call that our sister podcast for now. And look for episodes for these two shows to drop this week as we cover the latest Pluribus episodes. On my other YouTube channel, Lou's Reviews, you'll find our archived episodes of the entire Babylon 5 series, as well as the animated movie. I also have my Stephen King and the Writers podcast, where I interview writers. And you can find me on Twitter and X at Lou W. Sytsma, Sytsma. And with that, it's time to go. So take care, everyone. Until next time, take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
And scene.
The proceeding has been a JKL Media production.